Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Punishment Laws, Volume 8, Book 81, number 763793, Volume 8, Book 81, number 763. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's Apostle said, "When an adulterer commits illegal sexual intercourse, then he is not a believer at the time he is doing it. And when somebody drinks an alcoholic drink, then he is not believer at the time of drinking. And when a thief steals, he is not a believer at the time when he is stealing. And when a robber robs and the people look at him, then he is not a believer at the time of doing it." Abu Hurairah in another narration, narrated the same from the Prophet with the exclusion of robbery. Volume 8, Book 81, number 764. Narrated by Anas bin Malik. The Prophet beat a drunk with palm leaf stalks and shoes. And Abu Bakr gave such a sinner 40 lashes. Volume 8, Book 81, number 765. Narrated by Uqba bin al-Harith. A Numan or the son of a Numan was brought to the Prophet on a charge of drunkenness. So the Prophet ordered all the men present in the house to beat him. So all of them beat him, and I was also one of them who beat him with shoes. Volume 8, Book 81, number 766. Narrated by Uqba bin al-Harith. A Numan or the son of a Numan was brought to the Prophet in a state of intoxication. The Prophet felt it hard, was angry, and ordered all those who were present in the house to beat him. And they beat him, using palm leaf stalks and shoes, and I was among those who beat him. Volume 8, Book 81, number 767. Narrated by Anas. The Prophet lashed a drunk with date leaf stalks and shoes. And Abu Bakr gave a drunk 40 lashes. Volume 8, Book 81, number 768. Narrated by Abu Salama. Abu Hurairah said, "A man who drank wine was brought to the Prophet. The Prophet said, 'Beat him.' Abu Hurairah added, 'So some of us beat him with our hands, and some with their shoes, and some with their garments, by twisting it, like a lash, and then when we finished, someone said to him, May Allah disgrace you.' On that the Prophet said, 'Do not say so, for you are helping Satan to overpower him.'" Volume 8, Book 81, number 769. Narrated by Ali bin Abi Talib. I would not feel sorry for one who dies because of receiving a legal punishment, except the drunk, for if he should die when being punished, I would give blood money to his family because no fixed punishment has been ordered by Allah's Apostle for the drunk. Volume 8, Book 81, number 770. Narrated by Sahi bin Yazid. We used to strike the drunks with our hands, shoes, clothes, by twisting it into the shape of lashes, during the lifetime of the Prophet, Abu Bakr and the early part of Umar's Caliphate. But during the last period of Umar's Caliphate, he used to give the drunk 40 lashes, and when drunks became mischievous and disobedient, he used to scourge them 80 lashes. Volume 8, Book 81, number 771. Narrated by Umar bin al-Khattab. During the lifetime of the Prophet there was a man called Abdullah whose nickname was Donkey, and he used to make Allah's apostle laugh. The Prophet lashed him because of drinking alcohol. And one day he was brought to the Prophet on the same charge and was lashed. On that, a man among the people said, "O Allah, curse him. How frequently he has been brought to the Prophet on such a charge." The Prophet said, "Do not curse him, for by Allah, I know, for he loves Allah and his apostle." Volume 8, Book 81, number 772. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. A drunk was brought to the Prophet and he ordered him to be beaten, lashed. Some of us beat him with our hands, and some with their shoes, and some with their garments, twisted in the form of a lash. When that drunk had left, a man said, "What is wrong with him? May Allah disgrace him." Allah's apostle said, "Do not help Satan against your Muslim brother." Volume 8, Book 81, number 773. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet said, "When a person, an adulterer, commits illegal sexual intercourse, then he is not a believer at the time he is doing it. And when somebody steals, then he is not a believer at the time he is stealing." Volume 8, Book 81, number 774. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, "Allah curses a man who steals an egg and gets his hand cut off, or steals a rope and gets his hands cut off." Al-Amash said, "People used to interpret the bidah as an iron helmet, and they used to think that the rope may cost a few dirhams." Volume 8, Book 81, number 775. Narrated by Ubadah bin as-Samit. We were with the Prophet in a gathering and he said, "Swear allegiance to me that you will not worship anything besides Allah, will not steal, and will not commit illegal sexual intercourse." And then, the Prophet recited the whole verse, i.e. 60 to 12. The Prophet added, "And whoever among you fulfills his pledge, his reward is with Allah. And whoever commits something of such sins and receives the legal punishment for it, that will be considered as the expiation for that sin. And whoever commits something of such sins and Allah screens him, it is up to Allah whether to excuse or punish him." Volume 8, Book 81, number 776. Narrated by Abdullah. Allah Apostle said in Hajjat al-Wada, "Which month of the year do you think is most sacred?" The people said, "This current month of ours, the month of Dhul-Hijjah." He said, "Which town, country, do you think is the most sacred?" They said, "This city of ours, Mecca." He said, "Which day do you think is the most sacred?" The people said, "This day of ours." He then said, "Allah, the Blessed, the Supreme, has made your blood, your property and your honor as sacred as this day of yours in this town of yours, in this month of yours, and such protection cannot be slighted, except rightfully." He then said thrice, "Have I conveyed Allah's message to you?" The people answered him each time saying, "Yes." The Prophet added, "May Allah be merciful to you," or, "Woe on you. Do not revert to disbelief after me by cutting the necks of each other." Volume 8, Book 81, number 777. Narrated by Aisha. Whenever the Prophet was given an option between two things, he used to select the easier of the two as long as it was not sinful. But if it was sinful, he would remain far from it. By Allah, he never took revenge for himself concerning any matter that was presented to him, but when Allah's limits were transgressed, he would take revenge for Allah's sake. Volume 8, Book 81, number 778. Narrated by Aisha. Osama approached the Prophet on behalf of a woman who had committed theft. The Prophet said, "The people before you were destroyed because they used to inflict the legal punishments on the poor and forgive the rich. By him in whose hand my soul is, if Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet, did that, i.e. stole, I would cut off her hand."